Hey, always my favorite time of the year, to say the least, when you're starting the season with your new football team, when all the new players have arrived. You're finally putting your team together, starting to build your team. Every year is different, so we're excited to get started for this 2016 campaign. Let me first open by saying that there has been no better time in school history to be a Raging Cajun. With the things that we have going on our campus right now, not only in academics, but in athletics, it's an exciting time, not only for our student athletes, but for our coaches. The resources that we have at UL, at the University of Louisiana right now, are the best that we've ever had. And the opportunities that we are giving our current student athletes to be successful are the best they've ever had. Not only are we building new facilities, we just completed, our $30 million athletic performance center that helps all student athletes. That to me is I would say one of the top facilities in the country. That's not only helping us prepare our current student athletes, it's making huge dividends in recruiting. We've also obviously added new soccer complexes, a new soccer complex, new track complex. We bowled in the stadium. We're starting on a new baseball stadium. So the things that we're doing with our facilities are really taking our program to another level. So many people have had so much to do with that. Academically, we have had the best academics that we have had in the history of our school. As an athletic department, we're a 2.91 grade point average. Academically, our football program in the last 2 years, we're waiting for this year, has won the Sun Belt Conference highest team GPA award. And so academically, we're succeeding. We have the highest graduation rate of any program in the state of Louisiana. Our facilities are increasing tremendously. So Dr. Savoy, our president, and Scott Farmer, our athletic director, should be given a lot of credit for the progress that our program has made from top to bottom, and I'm very proud to be a small part of that, along with the rest of our coaching staff and the rest of the athletic department coaches that work very hard with every sport at UL, and especially all of our student athletes in every sport that come every day to work hard to represent the Raging Cajuns. With that being said, I want to first address our 2016 season. Like I said before, an exciting time to be a Raging Cajun. We just came off, 2 years ago, four straight 9-win seasons, 4 straight bowl championships. We were only one of 2 teams in the nation to do that, with us in Oregon. Now, last year, we had a little bit of a rebuilding year. Had a couple of setbacks. We lost a 3-year starter at quarterback. We lost a lot of guys that had eventually went on to NFL careers, and just struggled throughout the year finding continuity at quarterback, and didn't have the season that we had hoped. That's when you get into the offseason, you start trying to address issues, trying to correct things, trying to find things to make you a better team, and we think we've addressed every issue. One, it was defensively. Last year, we did not cause any turnovers, and that was a big issue. We think with the addition of some defensive linemen we've brought in, with our secondary, with Savion Brown, who's a first-team all-conference player returning, along with Simeon Thomas, who's finally eligible after sort of being on campus for 3 years, been wanting to play him. Now he's ready to go. We really feel strong about our secondary. We think our defensive line has more depth than ever. And then we think with Otha Peters leading the way in the middle of the pack, we've got a chance to be an outstanding defensive football team. Special teams-wise, last year going into the season, we had a kicker who had never kicked in college in a game, and we had a punter who had never played American football. Now they sort of return as veterans, and so our kicking game is going to be much better. We're excited about those guys. And then you get into offensively, we feel like we've answered a lot of needs there. First of all, though, Elijah McGuire returns for his senior season, the only active running back in the country with 3,000 yards rushing, 1,000 yards receiving, and I think he's primed to have a great season this year to lead our football team. Quarterback position has been one of the main buttons of topic, obviously. Jordan Davis, who finished the season out last year playing the last game and a half, comes in competing against Anthony Jennings, who just transferred from LSU. Jordan, we feel like, is one of the most talented kids we've had. He's an upcoming sophomore. He's got a great skill set. He knows our offense, just lacks a little experience. Anthony Jennings comes in with about 14 starts under his belt in the Southeastern Conference with a wealth of experience, but doesn't know the offense. And so it will be some great competition as we get into camp to see those two guys compete, make each other better each day. And so I'm excited to see where they can take us this year. They've got a lot of weapons to work with Elijah McGuire, Al Riles, Gary Haynes, and really deep but young, talented wide receiver core. Our offensive line, we feel like probably is our biggest offensive line we've had, and we've had some pretty big offensive lines, but we like our offensive line. We like our depth. We're excited about getting the season started. And with getting the season started, we have a great measuring stick with Boise State coming to Cajun Field for our first home game of the year. It'll be a great measuring stick against a program that's been very successful in one of the top group of 5 programs in the last 10 to 15 years. 4 years ago, after that 4th straight bowl win, we really felt like we were in position to maybe almost get to that next step where they were competing year in, year out in some major bowl opportunities, breaking that top 25. And now, we want to get back to climbing that ladder, and this will be a great measuring stick with Boise State coming to town. It doesn't get any easier after that with a very tough McNeese State team that finished 11-0 last year in the FCS. Then we open up conference play the next week against South Alabama. So our first 3 games at home are the first time in school history that we've played 3 straight home games to open the season. So that's a great opportunity for our football program to be able to come out of the blocks really quickly to get off to a great start. So we're obviously very excited as we get the season started. Coaching staff-wise, Coach George Munoz takes over his offensive coordinator position. He's done a great job this spring. You will see some changes offensively to our team and the things we're doing. Some things will remain similar, but for the most part, it is a total difference in philosophy. So I'm really excited about the direction of our offense. And then defensively, the entire staff returns from last year, and so I'm really excited about the way our defense is going to play. I think we'll be much better defensively. So it's an exciting time to be at our university. It's an exciting time to be a Raging Cajun, and I know our fans are excited. I'm expecting some great crowds this year, especially with the home schedule that we have at Cajun Field. 2 nationally televised games on ESPN this year, with a third being when we go play Georgia. That is yet to be determined if it'll be ESPN1 or the SEC network. And so some great exposure for our university, some great exposure for our community, and for our student athletes. And so with that being said, I'll open up any questions. That conjures up a lot of emotions. I've never been 4-8 in my career as a head coach, and so never plan on it again. But you never listen. It's hard to get to the top, they say, and it's harder to stay at the top. And when you're winning 9 games every year, we just hit a speed bump that we didn't see coming. And but we felt like we knew it was a little bit of a rebuilding year, losing Terrence Broadway, losing some of those guys, but we felt like we could overcome it, and we just didn't get it done. And lost some close ball games that could have swung either way. Didn't get a lot of breaks. Didn't win the turnover battle. And that was one of the biggest reasons we felt like it was because we were -11 in turnover ratio. If we'd have been +11 in turnover ratio, we felt like that we'd have probably been real close to the season we had the year before. If it is that close, each quarterback might have a role to help our team in some ways. But, you definitely would like to go in and find that starter and somebody that can grow in the offense. Because both quarterbacks, regardless of who gets a starting job, are going to have to grow through the system because they've never started in our system. And so I want to give them a little time to grow into the system. And they're going to have always have some lumps early. You're going to overcome that, learn from them. But the rest of our offensive guys are going to have to pick their game up and help carry the load. I don't want to put it all on the quarterbacks when we've got guys like Elijah McGuire out there. And so for these quarterbacks, they just need to make sure they do a great job of getting the ball to him and let him make plays. I think invaluable. He's played in front of over 100,000 just about every Saturday, and so I don't think he's the type of quarterback that will get flustered. I think he will bring some experience. I think he will be able to perform well in big ball games because he definitely have a lot of those under his belt. But he also knows he's got to compete for the job, and him and Jordan both know this is a wide open competition. We know Jordan Davis has got as talented of a skill set as any quarterback we have had. And so I'm anxious to see how it shakes down. I'm very glad we've got two really good quarterbacks rather than one.
How hard is it for somebody like him? Not only did he not have the spring, he didn't even have a lot of the summer.
Right. That will be the challenge. For him, though, being a senior, the maturity level, the experience that he's had, and he's had to learn more than one offense there at LSU. They've, had different coordinators. And so he's familiar with changing offenses, and he'll have to do a little extra film work, a little extra study time. But also we need to keep it simple enough at the level that he's learning it to where it doesn't keep him from being able to execute and make plays. And one of my high school coaches told me a long time ago, and I try to live by this, a lot of times, more times than not, you want to think players, not plays. And so we want to make sure that we give him, Jordan, the opportunity to make plays, and obviously Elijah.
If Anthony does become the guy, how do you make the trade-off of not preparing him for 2017 beyond?
That's a good question, but, for us, throughout the year, if he became the guy, you'd still have opportunities to get Jordan in the game, to get him more experience. And then next year, Jordan would be a year older and ahead of where he is right now. But to me, that's still too much speculation. I don't want to anoint Anthony the job. Jordan's worked too hard in the offseason, been there all spring, and this is an open competition, and it'll be a fun competition. I think our kids have confidence in both those guys, and man, it's just going to be an exciting camp, and we're looking forward to an exciting year. Yeah, our tempo is definitely going to change, and we've always been a no-huddle team, but our tempo is going to be different. Some schemes will be similar because we're in the shotgun. It's only so many plays you're going to run, but it will be some changes to that. Philosophy will be different. Some of the passing game obviously will be much different. So we're going to utilize our players' abilities, I think, hopefully a little bit better this year. And we've got, like I said, a deep, young, but talented group of wide receivers who I think can end up being some really talented kids, can make some plays. Last year I felt like we played way too much man coverage. We want to play man coverage. We want to lock you down and get in your face, but when you play man coverage, your back is always to the ball. If you think about it, it's hard to get interceptions when your back is always to the ball when you're playing man coverage. And so we've got to do a little better job this year of mixing in man zone, keeping teams off balance, but also getting more pressure to the quarterback. If you're getting pressure on a quarterback, getting the quarterback to rush throws, making him move his feet, making him get out of the pocket, those type of things, we've got to do a better job of that this year as a team, as a whole. And also we've got to do a better job of taking care of the football. That's just as an important job of winning the turnover battle as it is causing turnovers. And so that will be an important part of it also. I don't know. It's tough every year. But, opening up with South Alabama will be awfully tough. That's a team that we've had a great series with South Alabama. Every game that we've played them in the last 4 years, the home team has won. And so we've had a very tough series with those guys. It'll be a big test right out of the chute for both teams. They've got some outstanding players back. There's three things that I take away from where we're picked in the preseason. I think we're preseason number 5. Well, one is we're picked probably where we deserve to be picked after the season we had. Number 2, that's some motivation. We'll remind them of that week in and week out. And number 3, I don't know if they've ever successfully picked the winner. So that's a plus too. And so hopefully, at the end of the season, every team wants to be at the top. It's not where you start, it's where you finish. And so sort of like in golf, it's not how you drive, it's how you arrive. And so my short game is much better than my driver. My driver is all over the place. And so hopefully at the end of the season, we can arrive and get better each week and take it one step at a time, one game at a time, and get to where we want to get to at the end of the season.
What's your say right now in Elijah as compared to him 3 years ago?
Well, you know, his body has changed. 3 years ago, he was a skinny high school kid who had never been in the weight room because he played football, baseball, track, basketball, just kept rotating sports. Now this kid is carrying some quality weight. He's physical, he's strong. He is turned into a great pass protector. He's a total back, and that's why I think he's one of the best backs in the country. And he'll have to have a great season, but he's a leader. He's very humble, but these kids believe in Elijah McGuire. Well, you know, first of all, it's when you have tradition in your program, just because they change conferences, I said it last year, just because you change conferences, they don't mean you don't know how to win. And so you take two teams that have won as much as they've had, it has that tradition. You know, in the past, they've won games just on teams knowing they're probably going to win because they had so much tradition, they've had so much success. And so I knew coming in there was going to be a great addition to our conference. And, you know, obviously winning bowl games their first year out was a strong addition to our conference. Those are two teams with a lot of tradition, a great fan base at both places, and they're awfully tough to beat. And so they've only added a lot of depth to our conference.
Along the same lines, how do you view Southern football now compared to when you got here 5 years ago?
You know, I think hands down this conference is one of the top in the Group 5 conferences without a doubt, top to bottom. And just look who we've added. Teams that we've added, Georgia Southern, Appalachian State, and now we just added the national champion, Coastal Carolina in baseball. I don't know if any other conferences are adding that type of quality programs to the conference. And so I just appreciate the job that Carl has done, the foresight that he has had, and making some tough decisions sometimes. It's not easy. It's not easy as a president, athletic director, as a commissioner, when everybody else has the answers, but you have to actually get the job done. And so I'm appreciative of the job that we've done. This conference is deep, a lot of good coaches, a lot of good players, a lot of great venues to go play in. And so that's what makes it exciting week in and week out. Well, I think so, you know, and we have an opportunity to get off to a great start. We think it's a great advantage to open up at home, and like I said, a great measuring stick. But it's going to breed a lot of excitement to our team and to our fan base. We're going to have some great crowds, without a doubt, with the type of quality opponents we're bringing in for the first 3 games. And then we travel to Tulane week 4, which is only 2 hours down the road. We'll be back in this city here in about 2 months, and so great opportunity. Just like any competitor, he was like, "Hey, coach, bring him on." You know, he's not a guy that's going to shy away from competition, and I think any quarterback or any player in college knows that we're going to always play the best players, and every year we're going to sign quarterbacks, we're going to sign running backs, we're going to sign offensive line, and you've got to not only work hard to get the job, then once you get the job, you got to work hard to keep the job, and that's the best thing, greatest thing about college athletics and college football in general. Well, I absolutely would. I think it'd be a great series for both fan bases. It'd be a great exposure for both programs. We would get great crowds every time we play. I think it'll be a win-win for both universities. I'd definitely be for that in the future. Let me close by saying one thing too, and I'd hate not to mention this. You know, with the way things has been happening in our country in the last few weeks, as advocates of the game of football, I can't stress anymore right now the importance of this college football game. We've got to encourage more student athletes at a younger age to get involved with the game of football because of the life lessons that it teaches these kids. It keeps them off the street. It keeps them in structured programs every day when school's out from 3 to 6. And the life lessons this game teaches is imperative to the future of our young generation. And so that's why I'm more than ever of an advocate of the game of football. And I hope that we as a coaching staff and as players can make a big difference across the country in our country moving forward to create a better country. And I think we can do that as coaches, as athletes at all levels, but especially in the game of football where there's so many life lessons taught on a daily basis. I did leave out one thing that I wanted to go ahead and announce today, and I wish I'd have said this before. Devin Scott, one of our ex-receivers last year that played pretty good bit last year, tore his patella tendon 2 days ago, so he will miss the season. And so a little bit of a blow with experience, but nevertheless, luckily at the receiver position we are deep, but you hurt more for the kid than anything because it happened in the last week of the summer conditioning when he'd had such a great summer and put in so much hard work. So disappointed for Devin, but I mentioned that earlier when I was talking about the wide receivers. But other than that, everybody's healthy as we roll into camp and excited to get started. Any other questions? All right. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.